And we're live. Let's see. Yep, 619 is the first, September 17th, 2025. Got a bunch of decent news out there. Good to see Deepin progressing. And then we'll do a bunch of Helium stuff when Joey is situated. I'll kick it off with Onocoy. They put out a message just on the BONO to ONO conversions. I think their message on X is to HODL. I think it's a pretty standard message for any company. Just good to see them saying like, hey, this is what you should do. I think there's been some confusion on what you could do with those things in anyone land. They're doing an X space actually right now. Their space is overlapping with ours in Paul's penthouse, which sounds fun. And then they also released an article on staking within testnet. So just if you're into the dev side of stuff on Deepin, go check out what they're doing. In Helium world, let's see, Helium Plus I saw, there's a live series on X. I think Helium's been pretty good about pushing out more shows lately, as far as I can tell. And then there's a Hotspot giveaway. Anything else, Joey, on that? Or anything else we should come back to later?
Let me collect those thoughts. There's all
Sure.
sorts of stuff
I will
moving.
I'll
Yep.
keep going. In Hivemapper land, I saw Ariel promising that a bunch of stuff is going to come out this September. I didn't see what it was, but he said like, I don't know, product something, 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 and something else they couldn't announce. So just good to see that they are continuing to ship, despite getting some hate on X. It's like sometimes I feel bad for these guys for posting because there's like 4 people that hate what they do, or maybe slightly more. And it's like, dude, they're just getting the word out. What else do they have? And then they've got new spots in Chicago, London, and Tokyo. So 619, if you're going to be driving for Hivemapper, Chicago is a long drive from Indianapolis. I've done that one. That is not an over. That's not a over your lunch hour drive. Let's see. GeoDnet, which is a new one to talk about for us. They're doing a swap your tokens to Solana thing. And I think you get 0.4% more tokens if you swap over to Solana before October 15th. So I'll do that with my tokens, but just so you know that that's out there. DIMO is talking about, they're super excited about Google's new agent payments protocol, which is working with MCP and Coinbase's something or other. So I think this is just a fairly straightforward piece, like, hey, all of this stuff is coming, and we're seeing this integration of Deepin AI and kind of pick your payment stuff. So and crypto. So that's pretty cool. Wingbits is just going back to basics, talking about like how tracking flights work. So if you have questions about ADS-B or antennas or all the rest of it, hexagons, it's all out there. Spexi has got Spexigons out in East Cleveland. Cleveland is one of those surprising cities. It's actually pretty rad. It doesn't seem like it would be, but I went there for, I think, to visit MP Antenna back in the middle of the Helium craze, and I was really surprised with how rad Cleveland was. So not just a place to go to track or to map with drones, but also a pretty cool place overall. WeatherXM is still running their 25% off code deep in summer on any of their stations. And I think that's all of the news that I have. 619 says there's been a bunch of Hivemapper bursts in San Diego last week, so that's cool. And then the last thing
Yeah.
I got, I don't have the shirt on right now, but Flywheel Systems raising deep in Web3 awareness with every design and deployment down in the, I don't know, description somewhere, and also in the bottom right. That's the haps. Joe, what's going on, dog?
Yeah. I'm not rocking my flywheel system shirt today either, but I got helium on.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Yep. Um, yeah. How you been?
Good, good. I've been hustling hard. I've been working on this one of like a million different projects. So that's been cool. I put in, of course, you know this because you're on the Monday call for the working group, but I put in an extension to the podcast for Medeo Scientific. So we'll see how that goes. I know
Yep.
the working group had voted for it, and then we'll see if Foundation, I guess, approves that recommendation or not. And it'd be fun to get back into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think it was pretty unanimous in the working group. So
yeah,
I've been really excited to see the outfall, the the wake. I don't know what you
yeah,
still waking up over
the
here.
outcome. Yeah.
The
I mean,
outcomes. Yeah.
as long as
The
Foundation says
fallout outcome. Yeah.
cool, we'll follow what you're doing, then I think we're pretty good there, and then I can get started back up with those,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
would be fun.
Yeah. No, we've had an eventful couple of weeks over here. We had a little team huddle last week, so there's a lot of good thoughts and a lot of sort of cool things in the works over here. I think of the sort of public stuff, I think Amir announced this on Twitter, but that they found a way to acquire all of the tokens that were being sold off by one of the early Helium investors. And so that's been kind of great news for the HMT side of the house. Um, it was kind of a frustrating thing because it's like it had nothing to do with like alignment or anything. It was just a fund, and they were closing the fund, and that's what they were going to do. And it was like, yeah, we're not interested in like piecemealing this thing out. It's just going to be all or none. So they figured it out.
Yeah, okay, that's good. It would have been nice to see the price tank and I could just jump in and buy a bunch of them and then watch it go back up, but it's probably better to do it this way.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they could have given you some heads up at least, right?
Yeah. You're like, hey, there's about to be this thing. Let's see what's 619 is going on. When is IoT going to do something? I did something last time with making these things fit. Text box dynamic, maybe. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, IoT is doing. I had a message this last week where a guy was telling me he's like, "Oh yeah, this other group tried Helium and couldn't get it to work." And I'm like, "Man, it's I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's not impossible. Like it works. It's just it is a tricky
Hmm.
thing still." I'm just kind of surprised that at this point it's like, when they're like, "Oh, it just doesn't work." It's like, no, it's just that you don't know how to make it work. That's all. Which
Yeah.
I get is
Yeah.
frustrating. I've been there. Been many times when I don't
It's
know what I'm doing.
I think that the hard part is like it doesn't work. I'm not figuring it out, so it must be the system that's broken.
Yeah.
At least that's the message that I get a lot. You just got to kind of help people through it, and
Yeah.
they get there, and then they're stoked. And actually, there was I posted this on Twitter, but there's a company called Data Matters in Germany that has been doing a lot of awesome stuff. This guy Daniel has been pinging me sort of on and off as he sort of has questions. But this guy's basically all in on data only hotspots. And for him, it's about the network, it's about the utility, it's about making something that's shareable in a community, like all the cool shit. Um, and he wrote this awesome article, unfortunately, all in German. Um, but basically, they had this city that they were going and doing all this stuff tracking for the municipality. They went and deployed, I believe it was 14 data only hotspots. And beautifully, it was this augmentation of the community deployed network that was already in the city. And then they just kind of filled in a couple of the gaps or like redundant areas that they needed, and they're good to go. Um, so I don't know, I love the the sort of eyes wide open approach of like this is a resource for me. I don't have to go deploy 30 hotspots. I can deploy half of that, right?
Yep.
So
Uh,
they've been doing some really awesome work in understanding the deployed network and then like sort of making those like best choice decisions and getting all that stuff out there.
yeah. 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 And I saw you posted about that. I know 619, and of course this is me. What is it called? Self-aggrandizement. Is IoT going to get any marketing? Yeah, like they will when we do this podcast thing. But what's the plan? I guess it's not Nova anymore. Like who's kind of running the thing where it's like, all right, we got certainly mobile is well within Nova's realm for marketing, but on the IoT side, what are you guys seeing as far as like, all right, this is what we're going to do for the next 6 months to push it out there?
Uh,
Like I know you're
corporate,
crushing all the
it's
time. I'm always
enterprise.
seeing your stuff.
Yeah. It so like if you look at the numbers of it, like we could go spend 50 grand on LinkedIn ads or something, right? Um, but at the end of the day, the result on protocol revenue is fractions of that.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas I can go in a much more targeted way and talk to like a metering company or something like that, and it basically as a back burner project get something moving. And tomorrow at noon, I'll be having another one of those meetings. So it's like, fingers crossed and no promises. But if we can bring a couple million devices onto the network, like that's the swing that I'm going to make.
Got it.
Um, it doesn't mean that we can't do both. And I think that's been one of the sort of frustrating things for folks out in the community, but it's really just a matter of focus. And it's a matter of messaging. Like people are already incredibly confused about like there's Helium Mobile and there's the Helium Mobile Network and there's the HNT and like
Yep. Yeah. I
uh
just got an email the
and
other day,
so
like the same thing. I've got all my IoT hotspots 60 feet high, and there's like 60,000 people walking in front of my mall. Like, why aren't they processing anything? Like,
Right.
Let
If
me lay this out for you.
as soon as they put a LoRaWAN chip in these things, then we're golden. But um, yeah, so it's trying to be really clear on messaging. There's already a massive uphill battle for the marketing teams on like sharing the word of the mobile network, right?
Yeah.
And this goes back to something that I think I've talked about here, but it's like the IoT network is built, the mobile network needs to be built.
Yep.
And so like we are in the very early days on that mobile network side. The IoT network is there. We're seeing new operators come on every week. Like there's just all sorts of cool stuff happening on that front. But it's happening organically at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
So
get my like back burner IoT projects. I still have to put all the temperature pieces into paleo treats and track the fridges, which is funny because we're mostly through the last part of the heat spell, when it gets up to a blazing 87 degrees here in San Diego,
yeah,
a
six
blistering.
619's asking why they didn't put a LoRa chip in the Seeker phone. I tried. I actually had a conversation with the Seeker team, and I was like really trying to pitch them on all of the cool bunker messaging they could do, the tie-ins with Helium, but they were very afraid to change their sort of hardware bill of
Sure.
material, like because you put another RF chip in there, and now you have to validate that it's not going to interfere with your every other single radio and sensor in your device. So it was an uphill battle for them from the start, but we did
Yeah.
have that conversation.
You tried. You tried. You put it
I
in
really did.
the hat went in
Yeah,
the ring.
I would love to see a LoRa chip in a phone because it would be the coolest thing. You like build an app around it, you send a message off anywhere. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff. Let's see. Um, I put in, so I've got this thing, which I printed out. This is where is it from? Break the Fiat.
Oh wait, I know what this is.
And it's this Bidax Gamma. So I think I talked about it. Actually, I know I talked about it last time because someone gave me this advice. I might as well follow up with it. So I bought this little Bitcoin miner because I've never mined Bitcoin. As funny as it is, like a crypto consultant, never mined Bitcoin. It's like, oh, cool, this would be fun to mine. And I think one of the guys last week was like, dude, don't use the heat paste, use this PCM, the phase change material pad, which
Hmm.
I guess transfers the heat better or faster away from the chip. And the whole thing with these Bitcoin miners is keeping them cool. And so I
Mhm.
spent the last 2 or 3 weeks now learning how to keep things cool and how to plug in fans and what fans to use and all the rest of that stuff. It's super, super fun project. At the end of the day, it's still, I don't know what the odds are compared to the actual lottery, but probably
Tell,
pretty similar.
tell me when you mine a block.
Yeah.
We'll have a party.
When I mine a block, we may be skipping a couple weeks here. What's up, Jay? But it's been
There
fun
will be signs.
to do. Yeah, yeah. It's been fun to do and to learn about, and it's got me back into 3D printing, which I'd kind of taken a break from for a while. And I keep kicking around the idea you're super good at this, but I've never done it where it's like you design a specific thing to print. I've just always pulled everybody else's prints off of
Oh yeah,
printables or whatever.
yeah. It's a skill you got to exercise. But boy, once you exercise it, you just like, I need a part and it's done. It's
Ah,
so cool.
I
Yeah,
haven't got there yet.
yeah.
So, Jay likes your shirt. That's good.
Yep. Got the rocking the little clouds. I like this shirt.
And then I haven't made any progress on this. Well, I can't say I haven't made any progress on the sled. I keep kicking the idea around. I sent you a couple of my janky Canva
Hmm.
images on
Hmm.
what the thing should look like, and I've been talking more with GPT on how it works on the back end. So I got to get down to the junkyard and buy an alternator and the rest of the parts. But yeah, the local
Yeah,
sled community wants another sled. I'm like, I get what you want.
smart sled.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, that's a fun one. We talked about this a little bit. We'll have to find some time to get me down there and we'll do a build. Remember those shows like God, it was like the early 2000s and they just like Junkyard Wars, I think is the name of it, right? They just throw a bunch of people in with a bunch of shit and they'd be like make a go-kart and they'd figure it out. I feel like that's the vibe of what we're going for here.
yeah, yeah. It made me think, where would because I haven't done any of this stuff before, and I'm 100% confident I can do it just with GPT. Like, oh, here's an alternator. Which one do I get? How do I wire it? What do I put it into? Like, I'm pretty sure GPT can figure all that out because it's really good at knowing stuff that is already known. and there's nothing
Mhm.
I'm doing here that is super special. But it made me think like, who would I find locally who would be able to guide me in a way where it's like, oh yeah, for example, if you've built 100 go-karts, building this sled is probably not quite a joke, but it's like super straightforward. It's like, oh, you don't use those pillow bearings, you use these things, and this is how you actually do it, and here's how you set this up.
Mhm.
Where for me, I'm kind of figuring out the first time and figuring out with GPT, which is usually right, but sometimes it is awfully wrong. And so it's like, oh, it's probably go kart people or sand rails or whatever the desert racer things are called around here, which there's a good off road community here. So I got to go around and call around a couple shops and say, hey, have you done this before? Like, how would you do this to put this together? Because it's a little bit different than a go kart.
Yeah, with kind of a reverse go-kart to go slow kart.
It's a slow cart, yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll write that one down. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Slow cart,
You could you could do a like a Hot Wheels logo on the side with the
yeah.
flames.
Or cold
Yeah.
wheels,
Cold wheels. Yeah.
yeah. I like that. I would buy the slowcart.com site, but I already bought the sled.wtf, and I think that's probably the right one there.
Yep.
So, what else is going
So,
on in Helium Land?
oh boy.
You've been
Well, I'm
super
trying to
busy. I
remember.
missed you last week and the week before, right?
Yeah, so where was I?
Like the week before was like the community call, maybe.
Right, right.
And then last week, I think you had the meltdown on the blockchain where some giant exploit was going to drain everybody's wallet or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that was a super fun one. I was literally on the plane to go to this huddle and saw these posts coming up. And it was one of those things where, like, if we had seen any evidence of it in any of our repos, I would have been getting off that plane. Like, we were still at the tarmac. Um, but it was sort of emergency comms and just a full, everyone on deck to make sure we were good there. But fortunately, we've seen these kind of things before, which is we should probably explain the challenge here. So when you're building software, you know this, you've been doing like a bunch of stuff. You often are using pre-built packages, right? So you don't go and rebuild all of the Solana interfacing stack from the ground up every time you go work with it. You call in like Solana library, whatever it's called.
Yep.
Um, and you do that across everything. It can be error handling, it can be CLI formatting, like all that kind of stuff. Um, and so what happened is basically somebody got in and like made buddies or like got commit access to this repo and committed a bunch of code that was basically sitting there sniffing for wallet addresses. Um, and it did this really sneaky thing where it's like it was looking for a transaction, a send token transaction. And if it saw one, it would swap out the recipient address. Um, and so that package got deployed, a bunch of downstream packages ingested it. And just because they were set up to like auto update and things like that. Uh, and had these guys been successful, they would have been injecting themselves into a bunch of transactions. Turns out they were not successful, partially just because the community jumped on it so fast and I don't know, it just didn't get picked up in any sort of dangerous surface area like that. But if imagine it got sucked up into Phantom or something like that, it would have been game over. Um, but anyway, this is a kind of a known attack. So the defense there is basically every time you're using one of these third-party libraries, you pin it to the exact version that you're trying to get. You say, I don't want any of these like minor revision updates or any of that other stuff. Like this is the version that I vetted, you've audited it, and it's good to go. Um, so fortunately, across all of our repos, we have done that. Just because it is a security best practice, and then all of the phantoms and all those other folks, similarly did the same. So at the end of the day, that attack in the wallets, because you could see the array of wallets where they were trying to send tokens to, had acquired about $66. So it was, we were, I think the joke was like it was a generational fumble. Like they could have gotten a huge payday out of somebody, but realistically, nothing really moved through it. So And it's you can't even tell if those $66 were just people sending them random meme coins or whatever, because it was like 1,000 bonk and whatever other. So
All those
um,
bonk.
anyway, it's there's always something to keep you on your toes. I think that was like first thing Monday morning for us, and
That's
um,
good. And that costs you like 48
yeah.
hours that you could have been putting to actually building something.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a fire drill, right?
Yeah.
So it's it was a good practice to go through. Got us to take a look, across our board, make sure everything was good to go. We have a full-time staff security engineer, which is just kind of an awesome head count to have on the team. And his job is entirely around making sure that people's accounts are safe, that we're doing our best practices on, storage, on data privacy, all that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, it was his time to shine and kind of make sure everything was tracking.
He set his feet up on the desk. He's like, relax, guys. I got this.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think his feet were up on the desk, but maybe afterward. Yeah.
Let's see what else is going on. I mean, Kevin made me this thing. I might as well use it. Is in Paleo Treats Land. We uh, we finished up the treasure map thing, and I've been banging away at trying to figure out. It's surprising to me how difficult this has been. So there's a treasure map with a bunch of stars. I don't think I have one. Whatever. Black map, bunch of gold stars on it. And so I built this computer vision thing to count the stars. And then I thought it would be pretty easy to build bounding boxes around each business and count how many stars each business had. But it turns out because of due to all the transformations from taking a picture of the map. And so the picture was in landscape, but I had to change it to portrait so people could see it and count and confirm their stars. And it had to be shrunk down to this Chromebook size. And there was a window inside the Chromebook display. So like all these
Hmm.
transformations happened so that when you try and go back and say, show me where the user clicked and make it so that I can see where they clicked to like add a star or correct a star, I haven't been able to get it to work yet. So I've got
Mm.
like 86 or something percent of the stars are correctly assigned to a business, and then 14 of them are incorrectly assigned. But I've seen all the maps because I helped input them, and it's like, no, they're all more or less there. There's probably like maybe a 3% error rate, and it's been both of, I would say it's been almost entirely fun, like figuring out how to solve this problem of like retransforming the way computers see the world.
Yeah. Coordinate translation is one
Yeah.
of like the most annoying things in my head. It's
Yeah.
like it's easy in theory. You're like you have this proportion, you do this down, like, but for whatever reason, every time I sit down to do it, it's like whoa, shooting off the screen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. It's been
I
surprisingly
yeah
difficult.
yeah I think I literally did this earlier this week. I was building some little slider UI and I wanted the color to change behind it. Yeah,
Nah, pain in the ass. Let's
disaster.
see.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out the next thing to do. I've been reading this book on LLM prompt engineering, which I thought was just
Hmm.
kind of like a stupid meme. You know, it was just like, oh, how well can you talk to an LLM? And it turns out a bunch of people have put a bunch of thought into it, and there's actually a much better way to do it than I've been doing it. And it's been super fun to learn about and think not so
So
much for us, talking to GPT, but for building. I think the book is called like Prompt Engineering for Applications or for building applications, something like that. So for like if you're gonna set up a workflow with a bunch of different prompts, how those work together and how you structure them so that they return what you want them
mhm.
to return.
I'm actually kind of going through some of this right now. I wanted to build a prototype for one of the MNOs to make the review process easier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's basically a single client, a single user, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to not go and like bring in the entire DevOps team and do all this other stuff. I already had one of our engineers build a little front end for it, but I'm going to go and basically take an existing process and augment it and make it much prettier and get sort of a better experience out of it. And my approach, I think, is going to be it's very nuanced. There's a lot of data that needs to come in from a lot of different places. And I think I'm actually just going to sit down and write the entire prompt in a Google Doc and basically treat it as a product requirements document. Um, Nail down where everything should be coming from, how it should be handled, how it's going to end up getting displayed, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then it should just be a press go, and I think it's going to be like single prompt and out the door, which is what I got to do earlier this week for some little translation API that I put on Cloudflare. Um, I just spent 45 minutes writing up the thing, hit go, pasted it all in, and it worked. It was great.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it's super cool. There's I think for I'm working on this project where it's got to take it takes in this document that's 6,000 lines long of text, and it's got to be able to understand the document, answer questions about it, and change it into eventually into video. And it
mm,
just takes some thinking about how do you do that? How do you break it down into different chunks where you're like, all right, just make a 10-second video of this chunk and a 12-second video of this chunk and no more than 30-second video of that chunk. And in order
mhm.
to do that and to make the videos consistent so that something that appears in video 1 will look the same in video 30,
Yep.
take some take some thinking.
Yeah, that's been my number one flag for an AI generated video is if it's multiple cuts and that person doesn't look the same across cuts. Like,
Yeah.
you're like, wow, their face keeps changing.
Yeah, it's
Um,
very, I mean,
yeah,
have you done
those are
anything
tough
with
challenges.
GPT chat? Have you just talked to it?
GPT. Oh, just like talk, like, hi, how are you doing kind of thing? Or what do you mean?
Yeah, so you'll pull up the chat application on your
Yeah,
phone, and then it's I don't know why this is so rad to me, but whatever. Can you see it? No. This little black
yeah, there we
thing
go.
right there. You tap that, and then you start talking to it.
Oh, yeah,
And I've had some rad conversations with that thing, like where I want something explained, and I'm like, "Hey, can you
yeah.
tell me how, like a vectorized database works, and how do I do this?" And it will just talk to you. And so I just have it on when I'm driving, and if I'm not
Hmm,
listening to a podcast, I'm having this thing teach me about things I don't know anything about.
that's cool.
It's super
Yeah.
cool. It's the thing that I
Well,
wanted. I think the one more step is to say like, "Hey, make me a podcast on this." And I think I could do that via some API stuff. But for right now, having a conversation is great. And then everything's recorded so that if you go back to it later and you're like, all right, what do they say again? You just go back. It's one of your chats.
oh, okay. It like shows you a transcript,
Mm-hmm.
like that kind of thing. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I'm gonna have to go. I love this idea of just like driving around and having a conversation and like at your own leisure, kind of
Yeah.
digging into an idea.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I had this
Uh,
like idea last night
hmm,
at like 10 o'clock at night. And I went down and laid down in the backyard and just put the phone on my chest and put it to chat. And I was like, all right, talk me through this thing. Am I understanding this right? And she or it was just like, yeah, you're getting this right, but you're not getting that right. This is a neat idea. Try this. And we just went back and forth. And Lee's like, who are you talking to? I'm like, oh, my own personal tutor.
yeah, talk nerdy to me.
Yeah.
Don't worry
maybe
about it,
maybe
Lee.
I'll maybe Kevin can do a t-shirt for that. GPT talk nerdy to
Yeah.
me.
Huh. Wow, I love that. Well, speaking of AI stuff, I think I mentioned this the other time we were on a call, but the robo taxis are in the Bay Area now.
Okay.
Um, So I took one to the office this morning. It worked. I didn't die. It missed an exit because I think it was. So I think what's going on is I think they're in polite mode, if you will. Like the
Okay.
aggro is not turned up quite like a normal Bay Area driver would be.
Okay.
Especially not as a. We're not the most of aggro drivers, but
Now, I would think you
on
guys would be super relaxed, but maybe I'm missing it.
yeah. Uh, but anyway, it had its exit, and there was a big white van kind of in the lane, and it just kind of was like, I'm not gonna try, and so we did a big loop around. Same thing happened to me yesterday. It missed an exit. Um, but otherwise they seem to be working. It's really fascinating. Basically the thing pulls up, you hop in, you press go. So it's just like a Waymo, um, but it does have an attendant, and the attendant is in there, but they all of them I think have been told to do the exact same thing because they have their hands right on their knees and they never touch the wheel. So they're
Hmm.
really just demonstrating to you that like, yes, I'm here, I can intervene if I want to, but it's very much doing its own thing.
Huh.
And they're looking around and whatnot. The other day when it missed the exit, the guy's like, if you want to tell me to take over, I can. Like if you're, tired of seeing the robots do their thing. Uh, but it's self-driving. It's pretty cool.
It's rad. It's I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was this interview with the head of Dartmouth and the head of Berkeley, the president of both the colleges, and they were talking about what is going to happen with colleges in the future.
Hmm.
And the Dartmouth president seemed like she had her shit together, like she understood what was coming with AI. But
Hmm.
the Berkeley president was like, I don't see that AI is going to replace, that much of education. And, there's this stuff here that, you still need this university experience. I'm like, I don't think you're right, dude. Like, I think you're way behind.
Yeah.
Um, and he had a bunch of stuff where he was, I mean, obviously he's the president of Berkeley. He's not an idiot, but I think there's a piece out there where, and I think generally older folks are just not getting how fast this is moving and how good it is.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah,
It was my exact thought this morning. It's like it's literally the worst it's ever going to be as far as like the performance of these AIs. It's
yeah,
just next week will be a different experience.
yeah, yeah. No, it gets better. And I think even this thing that Joe's got in the chat where it's like, I started using Gemini for AI and it's better than GPT. Like these things
Mm.
flip flop every week. 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
Grok 4, or 4 weeks ago, Grok 4 was the best. Now it's going to be Gemini. For me, the decision I've made is I'm just going to stick generally with GPT. I'll try all these things. When Grok 4 came out, I paid the $300 to use it for a month and it was awesome. But
Hmm.
GPT-5 is pretty darn good.
I,
And I think if you're an AI
yeah.
researcher, maybe it matters. But for the rest of us, it only matters.
I've been using GPT-5 in the thinking one. Um, it it gets the job done. It problem solves. Watch its process, which actually is a really helpful feedback loop because it tells you where your prompts are off. So if it's like, oh, Joey wanted everything to be blue. It's like, oh no, I typoed and whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so that, yeah, I I haven't found any reason to hop around too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Try canceling your monthly subscription on GPT and let me know how it goes. No, I'm not going to. Like, I like the way
Oh,
it's working.
well, no, that's a hack. I don't know if I shared this with you guys, but I shared it with the team. If you go into the UI and say cancel my subscription, I think if you've been signed up for a while,
Yeah.
it'll actually just give you a button to get like half off for like 3 months or something like that. Um,
+1 for Joe. Hell
so
yeah. Okay. I thought you were fucking with
yeah.
me.
So I don't know if he's trolling or not, but like that is a good way to save some bucks.
Yeah. The other way is, let's see, last Friday, I went to my very first sewing class. And now that I'm a student at a college, there are all kinds of college discounts. And one of them is for, have
Mhm.
you played with this nano banana thing yet?
No, I kind of looked into it, but
Which is Google's
haven't
vision
touched it.
thing. I mean,
Yeah.
there's still this point where it's like, if you're an AI professional, you get a lot more use out of this. I'm not. I'm just AI kind of curious. And so I'll get on Nano Banana and create something. And the thing, and there's Nano Banana, which is the image piece, and then there's Google Veo, which is video. And what I found, and then of course there's Midjourney, which is totally different, is that I end up taking an image generated in one thing and putting it into the next thing in order to get what I want. Because I'll get stuck.
Hmm.
Midjourney will just get stuck and like, instead of giving you a woman eating cake, all of a sudden the woman is like eating the ass out of a dragon or something. You're like, that's not what I wanted. Can you go back to the fucking cake?
I think some people are trying to figure out how to get that result.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So it's like, oh, I'll just take the woman eating the cake and then take it over to Nano Banana and say, hey, replace the cake she's eating with this cake, and it'll nail it. Like there's some pretty amazing stuff on it.
Yeah. I've seen, God, what were the, oh, they were like swapping out like actors in films and things like that with some of like the early demos I saw of the Nano Banana thing.
Yeah.
And
No, it's
it looked spot on. It was pretty wild.
it's pretty cool. I think there's some folks who are way ahead of the curve who are making it look really easy. But the thing
Yeah.
with the college, you're going to a college course, and I would say shout out for San Diego Continuing Education Community something. It's like SDCCDE, but they're fucking free. You can go and learn. You
Hmm.
can be an electrician, plumber, sewing, construction, like anything, and it's all paid for with your tax dollars. It's amazing, and I
Amazing.
think most of these
Yeah.
cities have something like this. It's just you have to go find it.
Yeah.
So
Uh, I've had incredible experiences with community colleges. I recommend it to everybody. Like untapped resource
Yeah.
by a huge margin.
Yeah. So there's community college, which here in San Diego is okay. I'm sure it's good. I went to them. You still have to pay for it. These continuing
Yeah.
education things, I think
Oh, it's different. Okay.
it's slightly different in that it's completely free. At least the
So,
where I am. Are you okay? You got to move? Is there an
no,
active
so
shooter?
I've got some coworkers coming in, so and I just spotted one of them. So as soon as he's got his coffee, I'll drag him in here. Yeah.
Cool.
So,
Yeah. 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 Joe, the military taught me how to sew. Yeah, I myself have broken many sewing machines in the rigger's loft, but I need to learn how to sew and do a good job. So I made my it's around here somewhere. My little pin cushion. Ah, step one the other day. This is step one of my wrist pin cushion. So
nice.
very high tech stuff here. And I guess this goes on a
Yeah.
little like snap thing on my wrist, so you got a place to stick your pins, and I gotta finish that off. So
What's the batting inside? Just like
like a bunch of cotton
cotton or
they
something.
gave. It was,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
cute little thing. You go around in the classroom and you cut out your little pieces of cloth, and they give you a plastic bag full of batting and then some other cardboard piece. And it's funny to see that some of their stuff, some of their kind of technology for teaching is pretty cool. And some of it, they're like, oh, just go to this YouTube video. And it's this lady talking to you about how to sew. And she references some other video that doesn't exist anywhere that you have to find on your own. It's like, God, there's some process fails here that you guys could just fucking fix pretty quickly.
Hmm.
But
Hey, you set them straight.
yeah, I mean, I make
Yeah.
comments like, hey, here's this video is not here. Here's another video I found on YouTube. You could use this one. But I think that for continuing education stuff, it's pretty interesting because you've got this balance between like people who are trying to find new work and re-enter the workforce as something else, and they appear not to be that technically savvy. And then you've got folks who are in continuing ed who are teaching that stuff, and they have to be that savvy.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do those things get matched together, and how many resources do they have to fix, my problem versus other problems, which are probably bigger.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just reflecting on how much of a superpower it is just to be able to go collect skills like that. Um, I was having this conversation, I think it was the same coworker the other day, um, about some of the coolest YouTube video creator folks out there. All these builder folks are the ones where they can step in and build something, but they're not just going to bring 3D printing. They're just going to bring robotics. It's like control stuff. It'll also look cool, right? Like those are all skills that take time to build and
Yeah.
refine. And so it's like, sewing, welding, woodworking, like all that kind of stuff. Like they create the coolest toolkit to literally do whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm psyched to keep going with it. They're like, oh yeah, there's this other class, and I wanted to sign up for everything, and then I was like, wait a second, I still got to make sure that I'm keeping a roof over our head and paying the rent and making sure
Sure,
I'm
yeah.
actually doing.
Can go full 40 credits a week.
Yeah,
You trying
yeah,
to,
yeah, yeah, as
yeah.
much as I want to, because I mean they got like
Hmm.
culinary classes downstairs, and I don't really give a shit about cooking that much, but it's like the breadth of what you can learn for free. It seems
Hmm.
like the one good use of tax dollars California is doing, and I want to support that.
Yeah, yeah. Or take advantage of it, right?
Take advantage of it for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, yeah, if they've got like machining and all that other stuff, like some of this is like, yeah, there's a computer version of it now, or there's a modern version of it, but all of like, you just take Photoshop, for example, right? Nobody actually understands what the like burn and dodge tool does in Photoshop. They know what it does, but that's a digital version of an analog process, right? Like all of the stuff you're doing with curves and thresholds and all of that contrast have analog versions. So you can go take a darkroom class and you actually understand the digital version of that platform better. The same thing for like CNC milling. It's like conventional milling versus Klein milling. Oh, I know one looks better than the other, but you go sit down and do it on a Bridgeport and you have to like actually crank the wheel. You're like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
Um, so the cool stuff to pick up.
Yeah. 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 It's
Yeah.
super rad. There's in the storage place we used to have for paleo treats. we rented a piece of a warehouse, and it was, I don't know, like a 10 or 20,000 square foot warehouse. And we just got like, there was this dude who is super casual. He's like, yep, you just get like this 10 by 30 foot section and don't touch other people's shit. There was no walls. There was nothing. You just like saw everyone else's stuff in there. And there was a Bridgeport mill in there that I
Mm.
would walk by that was in someone else's space. And I was like, oh, I wonder if they would sell that and just like get rid of it just because it's such a
Yeah.
heavy thing and they need to get rid of it. But they never did. It just sat there.
They they tend to be cheap because when people need to sell them, nobody wants to buy them. So
Yeah.
they have to be pretty competitive there. And if I had the space, I would absolutely
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
one somewhere. But,
They're
yeah,
rad. I think that's the other thing is Lee and I we've been talking about redesigning or rebuilding our house since we moved in here 20 years ago. And it's always like, oh, when we redo this place, I'm gonna have a place that's like my workshop and place for a mill.
yeah,
So,
it's the dream.
but for now,
Um,
nope, just dirt in the
yeah,
backyard.
yep. I've been going deeper on the CNC router and having pretty good success there. I've had it set up and we've kind of talked about it before, but every time I would use it, it would blow dust and chips over my entire garage. So
Yep.
it was really a pain to like think about turning that thing on. Not to mention it was on a sketchy electrical setup, so I kind of fixed that too. But I built a whole I picked up a bunch of Unistrut from Home Depot
Mm-hmm.
and built a whole like welding cage around it, basically, with shower curtains and brushes and whatever else.
Yep.
Um, and so now I can go fire the thing up and I'm just like do a job, turn it on, like shut it down, vacuum up after myself in that nice little tidy area. And
That's pretty rad.
so yeah, it's been a big unlock.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is nice I think that's one of the things I like about the 3D printing stuff and this thing is you look at your life and I'm like super privileged. I'm about the luckiest dude I know, but it's like there's always something that you want to do better, and
Mm,
all of these things make it so it's like, oh, if I had this, I could just make my life a little bit better, a little bit easier, a little bit nicer. And the same thing, you build something out of Unistrut and shower curtains, or you 3D print something. It's like every time you look at that thing from now on, you're just like, oh, that made my life better. That's cool.
hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's
Sometimes
see.
it's the little stuff.
Derek asked if I got a student. Yeah, so you actually, I think Google right now, Lee saw this last night for Gemini across the board. They give you a year free of Pro if you're a student. So I've got to go sign up for that. I'm
Hmm,
assuming Pro is like across the board. So I haven't got that yet, but that's on the list of things to get.
yeah, it's amazing. Free classes and free software. So
It's 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 almost too easy. I've been reading Bill Gates' book Source Code, which is his early life, basically up until he really kicked off Microsoft.
hmm,
And this thing hit me where the dude just put in a shitload of work. And everyone I see who's super successful, like they seem like they're on social media, they'll seem like they're dumb or shallow or incompetent or wrong about something or whatever. And then you read about what they did, whether it's Bill Gates or Elon Musk or kind of pick your villain or anti-hero or hero. And it's like, oh no, that dude or girl was not only super smart, but they put these three elements together, lots of good, hard, and useful work. And if you're doing
hmm.
work that is good, hard, and useful, like you end up making a ton of money on the back end. But it's easy to do work that is only two out of three of those things, and then it is not well rewarded. But
Yeah, and it's also like the some stuff hits, some stuff doesn't.
yeah,
I saw, I think it was Mert posted this, but he said something like, "If you're so smart, how come you're wrong sometimes?" Which is just like the perfect embodiment of what you see on the comment section anywhere, right?
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, yeah, you're not going to hit everything. And it's actually part of the process is getting some stuff wrong.
Yeah. I think if I ever write a book about my life, it will be titled A Procession of Failures. Just like all these things that just didn't work out. And then you hit the thing that does, and you have some amazing, super cool experience that happens and it's super fun. But
Mhm.
behind
Have
that
fun with
is
all of
just,
it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's all good. All right.
Cool. Uh, yeah, on the Helium end of things, I'll try to bring some updates next week. It's just been dense meetings, and I wish I could tell you all about them.
Ooh, so it's actually stuff happening
Let's do
that
that.
you can't talk about.
No, there's nothing happening. That's,
Let's wring this shit out of you, Joey. What's going on?
yeah. Nope, no. This one is not going to happen. So,
I'll
nope,
ask
no
him
leaks
here.
today.
Like, hey, what's
But
the secret thing you're not supposed to talk about?
yeah, he actually, I think in a tweet, he literally said, "And one other thing that I'm not allowed to talk about." So, um,
Okay.
yeah,
Very
yep.
exciting. All right, dude. I think we can wrap it there. Good to see you. And we'll see you probably next week. Is next week the community call?
That was a good question.
I don't know.
That was on okay.
The new update rolled
Community
out on
call next
Helium.
week.
Okay, so
Let's
we
do
won't
it.
do it next week. What's this the new update on Helium HM hotspots, Helium mobile hotspots? DJ Superflash.
Uh,
Should I look you up?
we did just add the ability to add custom SSIDs to the hotspot. I think that just rolled out this
Okay.
morning.
Okay.
Um, I know Keenan's master of announcements. He posted it somewhere. If it's true, then read his thing. Not
This is nice.
no,
Like, it just
I'm
anytime you say anything I want to
blabbing
agree
on
with, I just
about.
say Keenan
Yeah,
says it is.
yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah, and Star Watcher's been doing awesome stuff with Meshtastic. Um, he, yeah, and he's awesome to have in the IoT working group. So anyway, oh, my CNC is an early version Avid CNC, 2 foot by 4 foot, and I bought it on like Facebook Marketplace for like $400 or something. Which, if you go look at how much those things cost, you'll
Not
know why that was
400.
exciting for me. Yeah.
I'll tell you, early on, I went out to see the guys at MP Antenna, and they had a laser cutter that was sitting in their warehouse. And I was like, oh, the thing looks rad. And they're like, yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass and it's messy. If you want it, I'll send it out to you. I was like, oh, I don't have room for that. But then I had a buddy who was talking one day. He's like, dude, I really want a laser cutter, but they're super expensive. I was like, oh, well. And 2 weeks later, the thing arrived at my door. I was like, hey, come pick this thing up. And he was fucking pumped on it.
Wow, cool.
So, yeah, the
Yeah,
MP
that's
Antenna guys are
a
super cool.
go go take some parts to him. You can go laser cut all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. I need to go track him down. He's been doing a bunch of like weirdo DoD stuff. So sometimes I don't get to
Hmm.
talk to him for a while. And then
Yeah,
he'll
makes sense.
resurface and we'll talk about whatever the latest radio stuff is.
Yeah, no leaks from him either then.
No. Very few. He ran an escape room for a while, and it was fun to go over there and just see what he was into. Um, and he taught me about this
Oh,
thing. He called it the smell of hard thinking. He's like, you go into the room into an escape room after the 3 or 5 people or whatever were done, and he's like, it's not BO, it's not like breath. It's just there's this smell that you get when people are thinking super hard. I was like, huh,
hmm.
pretty rad.
I think he needs better ventilation in his escape room.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, because we did it and I never noticed
You
anything that
put a
was disgusting.
put
It
a
was just like,
CO
oh, yeah.
CO2 air quality in there. You see
Yeah.
how high that CO2 is spiking.
Yeah. No, and I mean, it felt like I'm trying to think back. Like, I never felt like it was stuffy or claustrophobic. I think there's plenty of ventilation, but there's just something about it that did it. And I think he's sold the business now. So,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we'll keep it. Maybe we'll do some hard thinking today
yeah. And just
if we've had any
like, hey,
luck.
can anyone smell this? The hard thinking I'm doing.
Tastes like pennies. Yeah. All right, cool.
All right, buddy. Good to
Well,
see
I
you.
will catch you in a couple weeks, and
2 weeks. Yeah.
yeah,
All
keep
right.
on with the skill building. It's awesome.
Fucking A, rock and roll. We're out.
All right.